Get ready to descend into one of the greatest adult animated TV sitcoms. It's none other than Bob's Burgers. With a whopping 12 years on the air, 14 seasons under its belt, a blockbuster movie, and even a comic book series, we got a lot of stuff to look at. Let's get a bit of context before we really get cooking though. First up, we've got the man himself, the dad extraordinaire and proud owner of Bob's Burgers. None other than Bob. With a dash of pessimism and a sprinkle of stubbornness, you've got the recipe for the most lovable dad in the animated universe. Married to Bob is Linda, and oh boy does she bring the sass with her classic Jersey accent.
So anyway, I'm alone here today.
Linda, our happy-go-lucky, laid-back mom. However, Linda can sometimes be a bit eccentric. The first child of the duo is Tina, and trust me, she's the embodiment of social awkwardness. At the ripe age of 13, Tina has an uncanny skill for transforming any situation into a cringe fest. Like a car crash you can't look away from. She's the hopeless romantic of the bunch, daydreaming about the boys in her life like she's starring in her own teen drama. Jean is like Linda's spirit child, but in the looks department is a mini Bob. Jean takes the crown as the most artistic kiddo.
That's what I call my testicles, Jean.
Constantly rocking a sound effect machine or some sort of instrument. And Louise. She is a manipulative, cynical, mischievous little... haha. She's basically the living, breathing definition of the bratty little sister who's always up to some mischief. Now that we've got that sorted, strap yourselves in because we're diving headfirst into a series that'll leave you asking, did they really just go there? So kick back, grab a drink, and let's get straight into. Episode 1 starts with a re-opening of the legendary Bob's Burgers joint. It's Labor Day weekend, and they expect to make some serious dough. Bob reminds Jean not to offer free samples to the mourners coming out of the crematorium next door. I mean, we're all about spreading joy with burgers, but even Bob knows there's a time and place. Despite the warning, Jean beelines towards a grieving widow to graciously offer her a free sample. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, the widow decides to turn the plate of burgers into a ground-level burger art installation.
Hey, you can't give out those samples!
Meanwhile, Tina and Louise are holding down the restaurant while Bob and Linda are grinding meat downstairs. Drama alert! Linda reveals that Bob forgot that today is their wedding anniversary. Cut back to Jean, who is scooping the burgers back up onto the sample tray. Well, it just so happened that two health food investigators, Hugo and Ron, witnessed the obvious violation. Stepping into the restaurant, they disclose their initial reason for stopping by, to look into the rumors circulating about Bob's Burgers allegedly dishing out nothing but 100% raw human meat. Louise, of course, swears she didn't start the rumor just to have something interesting to offer at show and tell, even though that's exactly what she did. Linda goes upstairs to come face to face with Hugo, the health inspector, and, wait for it, her ex-fiancé. Yeah, this is about to get messy. But before we can confirm that the meat contains absolutely 0% human substance, Hugo slaps a sign outside declaring that Bob's Burgers is under investigation for potential human flesh in their meat. Cue the gasps. Meanwhile, Jean goes on a mission to discreetly deliver a burger to the mortician next door named Mort. Very original. Mortician named Mort. When Mort isn't looking, Jean presses a big red "Don't touch me" button that sends a decorated coffin onto the public street in front of the restaurant. Linda mistakes the coffin for an "I'm sorry, I forgot our wedding anniversary" gift. She creaks open the casket right in front of Hugo. Shocked, Hugo decides it's time to get the media involved. A protest forms outside the restaurant.
Good job, everybody.
Bob attempts to talk some sense into the angry mob. The crowd's not having it, to say the least. And suddenly, Bob's facing a wave of disgruntled customers turned rioters. Bob pours his heart out to Linda, confessing that he feels like a total failure. He even mentions how he thinks Linda might have been better off sticking with Hugo. But Linda shuts it down and reveals the real reason she married Bob. She chose him because he had a dream for their future. Unlike poor Hugo, who's just a man without ambition. Louise even steps up and says sorry to her dad for starting that rumor in the first place. All of a sudden, hungry members of an exotic eating club storm into the restaurant, fueled with curiosity for human meat. Bob sees the occasion, embracing the excitement, and cheekily slaps a $50 price tag on each burger. Ron, the other health inspector, comes up to Bob. He reveals that he and Hugo have tested Bob's Burgers, which are revealed to be made with only legal, non-human ingredients. Thrilled, Bob decides to celebrate. He takes the family to the theme park on the pier. Bob and Linda share a romantic Ferris wheel moment, while poor Hugo is left green with envy on the ground. Good first episode. We know now that Bob's not a cannibal. In the second episode, Crawl Space, Linda's parents are on their way, and it's chaos at home. Linda's in full-on stress mode, cleaning the house inside and out.
You haven't even fixed the leak yet.
And poor Bob is caught in the middle. When Linda forces Bob to fix the leak on the ceiling, he discovers a crawl space in the attic. We are introduced to the worst characters in the show, Grandma Gloria and Grandpa Al.
What are all these pots doing on the floor?
When they arrive, Bob, in a stroke of genius, or madness, decides to fake being stuck in the crawl space. Linda sends a family friend and contractor, Teddy, to rescue Bob. But Bob convinces Teddy to postpone the rescue until after the in-laws visit. Pretty smart move, right? The following day, Gloria decides to prolong her and Al's stay for an additional night. Linda finds out Bob lied about being stuck, realizing he's now genuinely trapped. She cancels Teddy's planned visit to teach him a lesson. Meanwhile, Bob loses his mind and enters a sequence straight from the iconic movie The Shining.
They're attempting to bring an outside protein.
Tuna.
While Bob remains stuck, the kids all get into trouble at school. Louise receives detention for faking Bob's death, Jean for presenting inappropriate content as a history report, don't ask, and Tina for sneaking above the boys' changing room. Concerned counselor Mr. Frond perceives them as kids in crisis and insists on an emergency home visit, threatening to involve social services. Just as he's about to make the call, Gloria discovers the unconscious Bob, breaks through the kitchen wall, and commands Mr. Frond to hang up, insisting he never interfere with their family again. Bob thanks her for the help. Gloria and Al leave. Hopefully, we won't have to see them for a long while. In the episode Shish Kab Bob, get it? Shish kebab? The puns in the show are so good. Anyway, in this episode, we're celebrating Tina's 13th birthday, the age she'll be for the rest of the series. Talk about the perks of animated immortality. Anyway, let's introduce Jimmy Pesto, Bob's arch nemesis and the owner of the Italian restaurant across the street. To Bob's dismay, Tina's ultimate birthday dream is to score her first kiss with none other than Jimmy Jr., also known as the son of Jimmy Pesto. We get to meet Bob's landlord, Mr. Fishoder, when Bob requests a rent extension to throw the most fantastic birthday party for Tina. Fishoder refuses, but suggests a job opportunity for Bob as a taxi driver to earn some extra cash. The job takes an unexpected turn when the first customer, quite literally, shares their enthusiasm by surprising him with an unexpected display of excitement. Tina has extended warm invitations to many classmates, including Jimmy Jr. However, due to the rivalry with Bob, Jimmy Sr. has decided to keep his son from attending. Jimmy insists that his son can go if Bob cuts his mustache and hands it over as a souvenir. Bob puts his foot down on this hairy situation, leaving Tina's boy toy out of the party. It turns out Bob, in a drunken haze, invited some of his night customers to Tina's party.
When life gives you lemons, tuck 'em!
Yeah, this episode is a bit outdated. Bob learns from his night customers that they know Jimmy Pesto, and they know he has some dirty secrets. Backed with this knowledge, Bob crosses the street and forces him to allow Jimmy Jr. to come over. Finally, Tina gets her first ever kiss. Episode 13 is the final episode of the season, and will take you on a roller coaster of events. Literally. So Gene is super pumped because he's heading to a baseball game. And guess what? The Belchers bought a tiny ad at the stadium. Tiny but mighty, right? On the other hand, Tina is all caught up with the butt-touching communication the players use. Gene has this genius idea to jump into the mascot running race, and guess who's there to support him? None other than Bob's childhood hero, Torpedo. This guy was Bob's favorite player and role model back in the day. Behind the scenes, Louise works her magic, connecting Bob with Torpedo, who then helps Gene become a mascot race participant. Against all odds, our very own Burger Gene wins the race. But Gene forgets the name of Bob's restaurant when he's on the mic.
What's the name of that restaurant?
But then, Torpedo to the rescue. Instead of leaving the Belchers hanging, he brings his entire team to Bob's Burgers. Tina's dream of being closer to the butt-touching action comes true when Torpedo asks her to work for the team. There's just one condition. She's got to bring him a burger before every game. Fast forward to the games, and Torpedo's killing it on the field. Bob gets a special gift, one of Torpedo's balls. Well, that could have been phrased better. Anyway, it turns out the ball is greasy. Torpedo's been cheating all along, using burger grease on the ball. Bob's disappointed, but Linda encourages Bob to continue helping Torpedo cheat because of how great the business is doing. Mr. Fishoder spills the beans to Bob. Every single game at the park is rigged, and he has not been repairing the roller coaster at all. We will revisit that part later. The kids want to cheat to help Gene win the mascot race for a third time. Linda finds out and does not have it. Gene is faced with a decision. He wants to win, but knows it's wrong to cheat. Bob delivers a motivational speech to Gene over the loudspeaker, which works. Gene loses the race. And then, suddenly, the roller coaster falls apart. In the aftermath, Mr. Fishoder drops the bombshell that Bob reminds him of his dad, which is arguably the worst thing to say after almost killing everyone at his theme park. Anyway, that's a wrap to Season 1 of Bob's Burgers. On to Season 2, Episode 1, Teddy the handyman and step-in uncle to the Belcher kids tells the kids about a hidden treasure in the soon-to-be-demolished Taffy factory.
There are tunnels under the factory where they brought the booze in with boats.
The hidden treasure ends up being an epic prank on the kids, as the joke is the map he drew looks like a butt. But the Taffy factory is very real, and it's scheduled to be demolished tomorrow. The joke flies over Louise's head as she drags Gene and Tina to the factory that night. Much to Louise's dislike, Tina invites Jimmy Pesto Jr. to join. And you know, wherever Jimmy Jr. goes, Zeke, Jimmy's best friend, is not far behind. Out of nowhere, Andy and Ollie Pesto, Jimmy Jr.'s little brothers, come along too. Meanwhile, Bob and Linda are trying to have their scheduled romantic night, but they discover that the kids snuck out, ruining their plans. Now the whole family is lost in this gigantic taffy maze. Louise gets stuck in a pit with a man made of taffy she names Taff.
You, tough guy, you want a piece of me?
Finally, Bob and Linda find the kids, and they narrowly escape the demolition just in the nick of time. Louise wants to take Taff home, but Linda makes her throw him away. In a turn of events, the factory's coastline matches Teddy's butt map, and Taff was loaded with gold bars. The episode ends with Cyndi Lauper singing a cover of The Goonies Are Good Enough called Taffy Butt. This episode is the highest rated episode in the whole season. Bob decides to spice things up by heading to the bank to ask for a loan, even though his credit scores are in the dumps. And guess what? The bank teller roasts him for his terribly low score. As Bob's getting rejected, a whole SWAT team, police cars, and news vans roll up to the bank. Turns out, there's a holdup and a hostage situation inside. Behind it all is Mickey, voiced by Bill Hader. Mickey, the bank robber, demands pizza.
What does Mickey want?
And Jimmy Pesto sees this as a golden opportunity for free publicity. So he delivers the pizza with a remote-controlled robot. Meanwhile, Gene is asking the robot operator about his training, and we're taken on a fantasy trip to Robot College, where robots are partying and even streaking. Turns out Mickey hates Pesto's pizza and asks for burgers from Bob's Burgers instead. And when Bob delivers the burgers, he ends up getting taken hostage too. Group phone calls, police snipers, and a human shield later, Mickey escapes to Bob's Burgers. After an hour, tear gas floods the bank, stunning the police and giving Mickey his golden chance to escape. He goes for it, but is ultimately busted in the act. Bob almost getting a loan until an ink packet explodes, revealing hidden money in his pocket. Bob tries to blame Mickey, but no one's buying it. The episode wraps up with Mickey calling from jail, still on good terms with the Belcher family.
She got an A.
Hey, we got an A!
In the next episode, Bob has purchased a new arcade game called Burger Boss for the restaurant. His goal is to make enough money to upgrade the kitchen, but Linda's got her eyes set on sailing lessons. Meanwhile, Jimmy Pesto sets a high score on the game and names himself Bob Sucks to mess with Bob's head. Bob goes full-on gamer mode, ignoring everyone's warnings about carpal tunnel syndrome, and plays day and night, relentlessly. As the voice of reason, Linda removes the arcade machine from the restaurant. Bob is determined, however, and quests to find Burger Boss at the Family Fun Time arcade, but he needs kids to get in.
You better believe I'll be back.
Not without children, you won't!
Bob tells Linda the kids are going to their first sailing lesson, but surprise, they're off to the arcade. A little kid named Daryl approaches Bob, playing Burger Boss, and reveals himself as the ultimate arcade gamer. He strikes a deal with Bob. He'll improve his gaming skills.
It's pronounced Daryl.
Daryl, don't go.
And Bob will take down a bully for him. While Bob's high on painkillers, the kids crash birthday parties, and out of nowhere decide to hit up the Commodore's ball at the yacht club. Tyler, the bully, shows up at the arcade. Bob passes out. Hallucinations kick in, and images of a chicken leg attacking Daryl. Security tackles Bob when he tries to rescue the little boy. Linda gets a call from Tyler's dad, and it turns out the kids have been party crashing and stealing stuff. Oh, and it just so happens that Jimmy Pesto is there, further taunting Bob. The yacht club kicks the Belchers out for life, But thankfully, there's a silver lining. Daryl swings by the restaurant, vowing never to become Bob. And with a little under-the-table deal, Bob Sucks is wiped off the leaderboard. In episode 5, the Belchers are hanging out at the restaurant when a bunch of food trucks roll up, stealing their customers. Bob's not having it. He tries everything to kick them out, but nothing works. As a last resort, he goes and buys his own food truck. Teddy fixes the food truck and gives him one crucial piece of advice.
Oh yeah, you can't have the truck and the grill going at once.
That totally will not come up again later in the plot. Do not turn the grill on when driving. Gene, being his usual self, ignores Teddy's advice, almost destroying the truck. Teddy fixes the truck once again. The Belcher family finds mild success with their food truck. Meanwhile, Linda's stuck babysitting the restaurant while the rest hit the road. Bob's struggling to turn a profit until they hear about this epic food truck festival, Lollapalooza, with a massive $1,000 prize. Former documentarian and now food truck owner Randy Watkins fills Bob in, and the Belchers are on the move again. At the festival, Tina reinvents herself as Dina, handing out free mini burgers, but she's spicing things up with a few white lies about the ingredients. Louise and Gene give bad reviews to the competition online. Bob ends up winning the precious $1,000 prize. Despite Linda's best efforts, she accidentally spills the beans, causing a riot. The Belchers and Randy dive into their food truck for cover, and the festival goers are not happy. After the crowd falls asleep, they sneak away in their food truck, only for Randy to start the grill while driving.
May I?
Randy, no!
What?
An explosion destroys the food truck, leaving the group to return home on foot. In the next episode, Tina gives the new girl, Tammy, a tour of the school. But things take a turn for the worse when Tammy convinces Tina to check out a spy hole in the boys' locker room. They are quickly caught and end up in detention. That evening, Tina's parents go out to watch a patty cake show, and she decides to throw a party with Tammy, Zeke, and Jimmy Jr.
Yeah, baby.
You're disgusting.
Tammy persuades everyone to chug margarita mix. Of course, they don't think it's just a mix. Things are going great, until Jimmy Jr. accidentally wrecks one of Tina's precious porcelain toys and she kicks them out. But before leaving, Tammy swipes her notebook of erotic friend fiction. Gene and Louise catch wind of the secret party and blackmail Tina into doing their chores. Tammy threatens to reveal the fan fiction to the entire school if she doesn't receive more margarita mix. That girl's really gotta read the box. Tina tries to sneak more margarita mix for Tammy but is caught and grounded. Tammy tells Tina she will make her a laughingstock at lunchtime as punishment. Tina, not knowing where else to turn, tells Linda, who wholeheartedly supported Tina, securing her a spot to compete for the title of
Freaky Friend Fiction! And I'm gonna read it to the whole school.
Best Cartoon Mom. Seriously, she's the best. Tina decides to take control, writing a new friend fiction with its own narrative. Gene and Louise steal back the notebook from Tammy, and Tina presents her new story to the school titled Butt Loose. The whole cafeteria bursts into laughter. But then, Tammy's bursts of farts take the spotlight. Season 3 starts with Mort throwing a funeral for Horny Dave, the leader of the One-Eyed Snakes. R.I.P. Horny Dave. After the ceremony, these bikers decide to hit up Bob's Burgers, and Bob is not having it. Chaos ensues, and the restaurant gets wrecked. But don't worry. Critter, the new gang leader, steps up, pays for the damages, and hands Bob a card for a future favor.
Here. What's this?
Means we owe you one.
Meanwhile, the kids are, once again, dealing with drama at school. Louise loses her bunny ears to a skateboarding teen named Logan. She tries bribing him, stalking him, and even tattles to his parents. Louise finally gets them back with the help of the One-Eyed Snakes. Turns out Logan stashed the bunny ears in his backpack all along. But Logan's family isn't playing around. They roll deep with the neighbors and confront the bikers in the restaurant. Linda throws down with Logan's mom. When things are about to explode, Mudflap, the pregnant lover of Horny Dave, goes into labor, and the restaurant erupts into shambles.
How far apart are the contractions?
They are not.
Logan's dad steps up as the doctor, and the gang and the neighbors join forces to deliver the baby. But wait, plot twist, Mudflap tells everyone that Critter is the real baby daddy. Ultimately, everyone finds peace except for Louise and Logan, who are all ready for a brawl. But hey, Louise gets her bunny ears back, and that's a victory in her book. In Bob Fires the Kids, Bob gets a mysterious package with his childhood toys. These childhood toys being a scouring pad, a rusty spatula, and a dog-shaped soap bar. Geez, that is really sad. Seeing these triggers a trip down memory lane for Bob.
Get back to work, Bobby.
reminding him of slaving away at his dad's restaurant as a kid, and now he's worried about doing the same to his own kids. So Bob decides to fire Tina, Jean, and Louise, telling them to live their best summer lives.
Go out, go outside, go be children!
And who does he hire to take over? None other than Mickey, the ex-bank robber that they had befriended a few episodes ago. Bob's trading jobs for free meals and basement shelter. Meanwhile, the Belcher kids are out there trying to have a normal summer, but they're not feeling the outdoor activities. They stumble upon a blueberry farm and meet a hippie couple named Beverly and Cooper. They offer the kids jobs, Jean and Louise as plant pickers. Not what you're thinking, and Tina as a blueberry delivery girl. But if it wasn't obvious enough, it's a front for a Zaza delivery operation. All of this for $10 a day. Bob catches wind of Mickey's shady plan to dig his way back into the bank he robbed. Bob tells Mickey that double jeopardy won't save him. So Bob does what any responsible restaurant owner would do. He fires Mickey on the spot. Bob, in need of help, tries to rehire his kids, thinking he's a better parent than his own distant alcoholic father. Surprise, surprise, the kids already found other gigs. A customer from the farm delivery service leaves behind a box of blueberries at the restaurant. Bob and Linda open it up, and bam, they realize the illegal Zaza operation.
Oh, they smell like a music festival.
Mickey spills the beans about the hippies' farm's location. Bob and Linda swoop in and rescue the kids. And just when they're set to leave, an undercover DEA agent, the customer, shows up with a SWAT team. The hippies get busted. Cut to Wagstaff School, Louise is narrating her detailed summer vacation report to her class. In the next episode, Linda kicks off the day with some good old dishwashing, but she's got something epic planned. Family game night.
Whoa! Bob! Kids!
But it takes a turn when Louise and her siblings claim Linda mommed all up their game called Stone the Witch. Linda decides to hit the mommy blogs for some genius ideas to get closer to Louise. Fast forward, Linda tricks Louise into a mother-daughter seminar, and it's about as bad as you can imagine. Louise is not having any of it. Dakota, the organizer, sees Linda's struggles and nominates her for the Most Valuable Mommy Award. In the meantime, Tina's caught up in some juicy school gossip about leg hair. She wants it gone. Linda's too busy with Louise, so Tina asks Bob to teach her how to shave her leg hair. But they end up at a waxing salon, which gets messy. Jean gets jealous, and now they're all getting waxed. Back at the seminar, Louise is on a mission. She locks Dakota and the moms in a closet and escapes to a laser tag arena with the other kids. It is the Belchers versus the kids in a laser tag battle.
Your mother's.
Uh-huh. Where's Mommy, Scott?
Tina realizes she fell into the peer pressure trap and kills her tiny leg hairs. And guess what? Post-waxing, Jean and Bob's legs are itching like crazy. The episode takes a sweet turn when Louise admits she doesn't really hate her mom. Episode 15 starts with a truck and a crate falling from the back of it. It crashes into a cliff, breaking open to reveal some mysterious glowing stuff. Bob has to go to court to fight a parking ticket, and he snags a fancy suit from Mort's funeral home. Meanwhile, Jean is feeling down after failing a health assignment, but when he's at his lowest, he stumbles upon a talking toilet in the woods.
Please sit to create profile.
And yes, this means that Bob's Burgers predicted Skibbity Toilet. This toilet can warm the seat and cracks jokes, but it's running out of battery. Fast forward, and the truck driver, Max Flush, is on the hunt for this high-tech toilet. He crashes into the restaurant where Bob and Linda celebrate the victory over the parking ticket. Bob's looking all rich in that borrowed suit. The plot thickens when Jean refuses to spill about the toilet's location, and Max Flush begins staking out the restaurant like it's a crime scene. The kids, being the heroes we didn't know we needed, team up with the Pesto children and Zeke to relocate the toilet to safety. Just in case you were wondering, Bob and Linda are sipping on free drinks from other customers at a fancy restaurant. Back to the main plot, Max Flush is revealed to be a toilet thief. The kids actually manage to stop his escape and get him arrested.
Get him!
In the end, the talking toilet is tearfully reunited with its owner on King's Head Island. But Bob has to return the borrowed suit after getting it from a deceased family member. Gross. On to season 14 with Tina, Jean, Louise, and the Pesto twins attempting the candy heist of their lives.
I give you the treasure trail!
It's Halloween night, and the team decides to rock a Chinese dragon costume constructed by the unsuspecting Bob and Linda. If you were wondering where Tina is, she claims she's too cool for the candy quest. Before hitting up the family restaurant for their dragon attire, they swing by the Belcher siblings' cardboard fortress in a sketchy alley. Because Jean needs dragon eyes, of course. But that's when a truck appears out of nowhere. barricading the group inside of the fortress. The driver, blissfully ignorant of the kids inside, plans on leaving his truck there for the night. Panic ensues, and they scream for help. Enter Millie Frock, Louise's crazed classmate, like a Halloween superheroine or villain. With her talkative tendencies, Millie gets on Louise's last nerve, and things turn for the worst. Louise loses it on her. In response, Millie locks them in the fortress. Millie plays tricks on them, dropping plastic spiders and tormenting the already miserable kids. Meanwhile, Daryl spills the escape plan to Millie in exchange for candy and bathroom privileges. Night falls, and Bob and Linda, clueless about the kiddos' plight, think they've gone trick-or-treating. But fear not, Daryl, the unsung hero, discovers a way out with a bent wire hanger. But he presses the wrong button and the truck ramp slams into the fortress. To save their lives, the kids stack bricks and paint to prevent them from being crushed by the weight. Finally, they escape, only to find the festivities are over. Discouraged, they head home to raid the candy Bob and Linda snagged while they went trick-or-treating in the dragon costume. Tina reconsiders and decides she'll keep trick-or-treating after all. At the end of the day, Millie, the menace, stumbles upon the horror scene of red paint cans and a smashed cardboard box that once had her classmates inside.
Oh my god, I killed them!
Panicking at the thought of having obliterated her classmates, the kids, hiding in the shadows, pull a stunt, convincing Millie to forfeit her candy and flee in terror. Well, at least they can happily munch on Millie's loot. Now onto Season 5, Episode 1. The curtain rises on the Belchers and the Wheelers, storming Mr. Fran's office. We are at Wagstaff, where the air is thick with tension. Gene is on a mission to turn the school's annual musical into a musical adaptation of Die Hard. Because, nothing says high school musicals like terrorists and skyscrapers. But Courtney Wheeler, a big rom-com fan, wants the Working Girl musical. And she's got her dad, Doug, in tow with a truckload of musical resources. Gene ain't having it, though.
Oh, Courtney.
Oh no.
Hey, Gene.
And accuses her of stealing his thunder, dubbing Working Girl the sassy sister film to Die Hard. Fast forward to the battle of the musicals, Die Hard versus Working Girl. Louise hatches a plan for the guerrilla protest production of Die Hard in the school boiler room. They assemble a cast of rejects, and Gene, not impressed with their skills, decides to take matters into his own hands and to become a one-man show. Opening night arrives, and Louise has been working on a secret campaign to steal the audience from Working Girl. The chaos unfolds with Bob and Linda caught in the crossfire, and Doug realizes the gig is up when Jimmy Pesto ditches Working Girl for Die Hard. The confusion has landed everyone back into Mr. Fran's office. The verdict? Musical theater is too dangerous. But Gene, realizing he shouldn't be ruining the joy of theater for everyone, hands the stage to Courtney. They decide to join forces for a last-minute masterpiece called Work Hard or Die Trying.
Does anybody want coffee?
Girl. Mr. Fran, swayed by the promise of an award, gives the green light. The hybrid production unfolds, blending Die Hard and Working Girl into a wild crossover. The last episode of Season 5 begins with the residents of Ocean Avenue at Bob's restaurant, fueled by the determination to do something about Mr. Fischoeder's outrageous rent increase. Bob sparks a rallying cry among his fellow tenants, urging them to stand united in a rent strike unless Fischoeder reconsiders the exorbitant rates. Together, they march to Fischoeder's home, ready to make their demands heard. Fischoeder counters with a deal involving a water balloon battle on his property. The stakes are high, with the losers facing the dreaded rent increase and the victor enjoying a rent reduction.
Excuse me? I said a water balloon fight.
Despite Bob's attempt to dissuade them, the tenants welcome the challenge, arming themselves with balloons and vanishing into the battleground. As Gene and Louise venture out for more water balloons, Bob enlists the unlucky support of Sal, the owner of the local adult store. However, Jimmy Pesto hands Sal a water balloon, turning him against Bob. Amidst the chaos, Linda valiantly steps in, taking a hit for her husband. Undeterred, she encourages Bob to focus on winning and hands him her bra as a makeshift balloon launcher. Bob strategically eliminates opponents, with Gene and Louise using Linda's bra to outsmart the competition and reach a tree fort on Fischoeder's estate. Inside, they discover Fischoeder's brother, Felix, along with a stash of balloons. The climax sees Bob and Tina facing off against Jimmy Pesto and his twins. Fischoeder intervenes, introducing a new rule, where hitting Bob deducts $50 from the attacker's rent and adds it to Bob's. The tension escalates as the crowd becomes part of the game, extending until sundown. In a daring escape, Bob seeks refuge in an abandoned Ferris wheel, but the crowd eventually discovers him. Linda, with unwavering resolve, addresses the tenants, highlighting the detrimental impact of rent increases on their businesses. Fish Odor, moved by Bob's apology for not discussing the matter man to man, decides to postpone the rent hike. The episode ends with the tenants and Fish Odor engaging in a no-stakes, just-for-fun water balloon fight. Starting off season 6, the Wagstaff school students are in the auditorium for a mandatory play about the legendary landship in their town. An announcement over the speaker wakes the crowd as they discover graffiti featuring the mischievous Ghost Boy at school. Out on stage comes an adult male reenactor dressed as a 13-year-old girl named Patience Headbottom, a genius teen from the War of 1812. Patience hatches a plan to drag their lone ship ashore, fooling British soldiers and causing their ship to crash. Meanwhile, Tina's friends bail on the play and call her boring for wanting to stay. As soon as Tina discovers that Ghost Boy's true identity is Jordan, she decides to prove her coolness. Instead of ratting him out, she goes out, tagging the town with little ghosts with him. Jordan falls head over heels for Tina, and he ropes her into tagging the landship's sail on the eve of the parade. Tina reluctantly agrees. Louise tries to unravel what's been going on with Tina. She finally gives in and tells Louise everything. Devastated about potentially ruining the parade, she teams up with her siblings to paint over the graffiti ghost on the landship, narrowly avoiding British reenactors in the process. The aftermath hits Jordan hard. Tina gains the admiration of her friends and catches Jimmy Jr.'s eye. On the side plot, Bob's restaurant has to deal with a porta potty blocking their restaurant during the parade. City Hall won't budge, and the Belchers attempt to move them at night, but they won't budge either. On the day of the parade, it turns out they can capitalize on the long porta potty lines, which brings new business to the restaurant. Season 7 starts with Thanksgiving just around the corner. Tina's writing Quirky Turkey, an erotic friend fiction inspired by the nicknames Tammy and Jocelyn call her. Louise and Jean aren't thrilled about Mr. Fran's annual Thanksgiving play. They believe it's too dull and robs them of the pre-Thanksgiving half-day fun. Plot twist. Louise, ever the mischief maker, seizes the chance to spice up the play by turning Tina's fanfic into this year's performance. With Tina, Mr. Frond, and a motley crew, including Jimmy Jr., Zeke, Tammy, and Jocelyn on board. On the side plot, Linda discovers a potato doppelganger resembling her late grandfather, but Bob isn't sold on the likeness, leading to a disagreement.
I mean, don't all old men kind of look like potatoes?
Rehearsals unfold with terrible acting, but Louise is determined to crank up the shock factor. A wild plan involving turkey giblets, an air compressor, and a little help from Teddy. The plan for the grand finale is a giblet explosion that rains down on the unsuspecting audience. Tina catches wind of the plot, upset that her friend fiction is being exploited for one of Louise's schemes. Despite Tina's protests, the other kids are not planning on stopping the show. Come the moment of truth, the performance stumbles through cringeworthy acting and ear-splitting singing. Linda brings Grandfather Potato to the performance too. After the giblets are released onto the audience, everyone is covered, and the kids soon realize how vile and upsetting it is.
Okay, this might have been a mistake.
Tina suggests saving the situation with a new song she wrote. Tina's improvised performance wins over the audience. While Jean and Louise face the aftermath of their stunt, they realize the price was worth the unexpected success. The Bleakening is a 2-part Christmas episode in season 8 that kicks off with Linda having a wild dream about a Christmas bash. Excited, she teams up with her Bob to turn their family restaurant into the ultimate holiday hotspot. When news breaks out that the town's gay nightclub shut down, Linda takes charge. She chops the top off the family Christmas tree, decks it out with the kids' handmade ornaments, and sets it up as the centerpiece for the party. As the celebration unfolds, Teddy tells a tale about the Bleaken, a mysterious creature known for swiping presents from naughty kids. The party takes a turn when Linda discovers her tree topper missing, prompting a full-blown investigation. Sergeant Bosco drops the news that Christmas decorations are vanishing all over town, leaving Linda and Bob on a side quest to find the culprit. Meanwhile, Louise, Tina, and Jean are hot on the trail of the Bleaken. After a Christmas Eve feast, the kids go to the Bleaken's supposed lair at an eerie warehouse in the sketchiest part of town. But when things start to look dangerous, Tina makes a call, tipping off their parents about their location. Outside the warehouse, they discover more clues: Jean's ornament, black feathers, and gigantic footprints in the snow. A hidden door leads them downstairs, where they encounter the unexpected. At this time, Bob and Linda join the adventure, unveiling a secret Christmas rave and the stolen decorations. The holiday spirit clash begins as Linda confronts the ravers, setting off a chain of events. With the police closing in, Bob acts as a distraction in a bleaking costume, making sure the ravers survive the night. The next morning, the family's Christmas tree topper is back in its glory, and Linda's festive spirit is back in full swing. Now, moving on to season 9, man, we are really clipping. It starts with a news report that lights up the scene with Boys for Now, desperately seeking a fourth member to post a flop album.
It's more than four, we don't need.
Tina is on a mission when she accidentally collides with Damon, an audition-bound heartthrob hoping to join the boy band. Fueled by determination, Tina disguises herself as a boy to be with Damon at the auditions.
My nuts are as Dino hot.
Amidst the chaos of boys competing for a spot, Tina seeks refuge in the bathroom. She begins fantasizing, entangling her thoughts with Chad, who's also hiding in the bathroom. That's when she comes up with a plan involving line cutting, a fight with a contestant, and a sprint past unsuspecting auditionees. Damon takes center stage, yet Tina's heart dances with fantasies of his friend. The revelation hits her. Tina's not in love with Damon after all. The big reveal unfolds as the band welcomes a new member, none other than Boo Boo, whose solo singing dreams went downhill. In season 10, episode 17, Bob is forced to shut down his restaurant because of a leaky ceiling. But he's not just sitting around. Instead, he's hitting the road with his family and the limo driver, Natalie. They're on a side quest to take Natalie's depressed snake to Nat's ex-girlfriend's animal sanctuary. Wow, what a crazy thing to say. It quickly turns into chaos as the car is covered in explosive vomit from overpriced exit ramp attraction. And that's all while the snake attempts to escape several times.
If he starts to wake up, move as quickly as possible or stay still. One of the two.
Meanwhile, back at the closed restaurant, Teddy is taking charge. Abandoning his repair work after 2 minutes, he slips into Bob's apron, makes the cheddar cheeseburger, and goes a little crazy. Alright, let's buckle up because it's time for the Bob's Burgers movie. Things are heating up at Wonder Wharf. It's a full-on brawl when a gunshot echoes through the air, sending one unlucky figure descending to the ground. Fast forward 6 years and the Belchers are gearing up for the summer of a lifetime. Bob and Linda are scheming to outsmart the First Oceanside Savings Bank. Tina's plotting a love confession. Jean's building a musical contraption that'll make Mozart jealous. And Louise? Well, she's out to prove she's got more guts than she's given credit for. Trouble's sizzling on the Belchers grill. Denied a loan extension, Bob and Linda are on the brink of losing their restaurant. Desperate times call for desperate measures, so they sweet-talk their landlord, Mr. Calvin Fishoder, into letting them skip rent. That's when a sinkhole opens up in front of Bob's Burgers, and what do they find? The skeletal remains of a carny named Cotton Candy Dan. Suddenly, Mr. Fishoder is accused of murder. The Belcher kids ditch school to uncover the truth and clear their landlord's name. Their investigation leads them to a secret clubhouse under a ride called the Molehill. Apparently, subtlety is not in the Wharf's vocabulary. In this underground lair, the Fishoder brothers and their cousin lawyer Grover play hide-and-seek with the law. But Louise spots a cufflink on Grover that matches the one found on the skeleton. Louise sees a faded bite mark on Grover's wrist. Turns out Grover isn't just a lawyer, he's a full-fledged, bone-chilling murderer. And he's got Louise wrapped up in it. Meanwhile, Bob, Linda, and their partner in crime, Teddy, are cooking up a plan. They set up a mobile burger stand at Wonder Wharf, courtesy of Teddy's questionable engineering skills, all in a desperate bid to rake in enough dough to save their precious restaurant. Right when things are looking up, they're chased by carnies. Now the adults find themselves in Molehill, tumbling down the rabbit hole of secrets into the very clubhouse where Grover's holding court with his hostages.
Oh, my face!
Ha! Now you're in trouble. Our mom and dad are here.
Grover monologues about his diabolical plan. Frame Calvin, off him and Felix, torch the Molehill, and snag that sweet family trust money. The Fishoder brothers find themselves playing a deadly game of submarine roulette. But fear not, because the Belcher family uses this distraction to plot their escape. Cue the Mario Kart-style chase through Wonder Wharf, with Grover hot on their tail in a go-kart race. This race ends horribly, with the Bob's Burgers family at the bottom of a sinkhole with no way out. After breaking a water main, the Belchers shoot out like human fireworks back to the Molehill, where Louise heroically saves the day by preventing the fuse from igniting. The police swoop in, throwing Grover behind bars and saving the Fishoder brothers. As the week wraps up, Bob and Linda triumphantly pay off the loan. Louise faces her fears with a dead man's drop. Tina spills her heart out to Jimmy Jr., and Gene's band takes the stage at the band shell. Season 13, Episode 10 is the episode that scored a whopping 9.6 on IMDb, making it the highest rated episode in the entire Bob's Burgers series. Well, let's see if they're right. Gene's in the restaurant, banging on his xylophone. Linda's freaking out because she's torn between missing Gene's xylo-dazzling concert and Tina's Thundergirl extravaganza at City Hall. It's decision time, and Bob and Linda flip a coin to decide. That's when Louise waltzes in with a bombshell. She's got a poetry contest the same night. Bob and Linda are left scrambling. Louise convinces her mom to drop her off at the library on the way to Tina's play. In the car, Tina mentions Louise's intense poem, which makes Linda defensive. At City Hall, Linda's helping the leader of the Thundergirls, Ginny, with dressing up the actors. Linda and Ginny talk, and Tina discovers Louise's real poem, causing Linda to freak out. Linda's on the phone with Bob, while Bob's racing to get to the library. Back at Gene's concert, chaos ensues as the music instructor, Miss Merkin, cannot make it. That means the kids are left alone with their memory fueling the show. The first song hits a sour note, but fear not, Gene's got a plan. He starts disassembling xylophones. As the second song kicks in, Louise steals the show with her heartfelt poem. Tina, the mastermind behind the scenes, lets Harley take the spotlight. The crowd erupts in applause. In the car ride home, Tina can't resist poking fun at Louise's poem. Gene's class nails the second song, earning a standing ovation. The episode wraps up as Bob reads Louise's genuine poem, and Gene does end up showing the concert to Miss Merkin. The most recent episode at the time of recording is Season 14, Episode 11, Mission impossi-Bob, which streamed on January 7th, 2024. The episode starts on a Saturday morning, and Gene is freaking out about his math homework during the school break. Meanwhile, the rest of the Belchers are getting ready to open the restaurant. Louise and Tina are hustling, wiping down menus and just trying to get things rolling. But Gene needs help with his homework, and here comes Bob, the hero dad, offering to save the day. Little did we know, Bob is not exactly the math genius we thought he was. Teddy calls in a bit of a pickle. Turns out he's stuck inside a safe in a survival bunker. Why? Well, his boss Gerald wants him to install a false wall to hide his vintage candy dispenser collection. Bob reluctantly agrees to help Teddy out, and the rescue mission begins. But oh boy, things get even crazier when Teddy spills about the loyalty test he had to take. A roast beef sandwich, cake, and cash left unattended. Now Bob's on a mission, following Teddy's crazy directions, playing while driving, and trying to track down this secret bunker. Back at the restaurant, the Belcher kids decide it's the perfect time to break a world record. Cue the beef behemoth, the biggest burger ever. Linda realizes they have no idea how to flip the giant patty. Bob's driving along, head out the window, trying to catch a whiff of Teddy's aftershave. He stumbles upon what he thinks is Gerald's house. Bob, being the cautious dad he is, parks down the road just in case there are cameras. Well, let me tell you, he will regret that decision. Bob finds the secret bunker in the backyard with none other than Teddy inside. Bob tries to explain, but Teddy cuts him off, fearing Gerald's return. That's when a red truck pulls up. Gerald's back. Teddy starts panicking, trying to hide Bob with a lampshade. No. But Bob has a plan. Meanwhile, Tina is back from the bakery with news about some huge plastic display buns for their massive burger patty. Back in Gerald's bunker, Teddy is nervously chatting with Gerald, who's checking out his regular safe. But then Gerald wants to see behind the false wall, and Teddy's like, uh-oh, what's behind it? Gerald's loving it, and Teddy's off the hook for now. Teddy rushes back to reveal Bob hiding behind sheet metal. Teddy's calling Bob a genius. Cut to nighttime with the Belchers in the kitchen. Bob's feeling smart after his adventure, even finally helping Gene with math. And Linda's planning giant fries for the next epic meal. Whew, we made it. If you stuck around to the end, you're a true fan, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Before we wrap things up, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell to stay updated on all things cartoons. Let me know what show you want to see next in the comments too. Until next time, see ya!